Take people like Jay-Z and fucking Pusha T, they made their living killing our people. So how the fuck they gonna stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because you love Jay-Z's music so much. You love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, Beyonce had the best fit for somebody else?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, they told the truth, right? And they go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars.
Man.
Liars are now the face of our culture.
This is the story of a recording no one was supposed to hear. A lawsuit that nearly dismantled one of the most powerful careers in music history, and a legal war so tangled that even the judge presiding over it admitted, in writing, that he wasn't sure he got it right. In December 2024, Jay-Z, worth $2.6 billion, named the greatest rapper of all time by Billboard, just a year before found himself named in federal court as the alleged rapist of a 13-year-old girl at a party in New York back in the year 2000.
We do have some breaking news that we want to bring to you. It was being reported by TMZ and now Fox News. We are learning that Jay-Z is accused of raping a 13-year-old girl. That is new in the Diddy lawsuit, and the new allegations are just coming out this evening. Jay-Z is being accused of raping a minor along with Diddy at a MTV VMAs after party back in 2000, according to documents obtained by Fox News Digital tonight. The lawsuit, which was initially filed back in October, was refiled tonight in New York by an anonymous accuser claiming Jay-Z, whose full name is Sean Carter, raped her while Combs and Celebrity B watched. So that other celebrity was not named. Initially, the lawsuit stated Combs raped the minor while Celebrity A and Celebrity B watched. Carter was named as Celebrity A in the refiled lawsuit. Representatives for Jay-Z did not immediately respond to Fox News Digital request for comment. Combs and Carter allegedly, quote, took turns assaulting the minor, according to the lawsuit. Many others were present at the after party, but did nothing to stop the assault, it alleges. The 13-year-old girl was dropped off at Radio City Music Hall by a friend as she wanted to attend the MTV Video Music Awards back in 2000, according to the lawsuit.
The accuser was an anonymous woman from Alabama. Her attorney was a high-powered Houston lawyer named Tony Busby. The case was tied to the sweeping criminal scandal surrounding Sean Diddy Combs. Jay-Z denied every word of it. But denial is only part of this story, because what happened over the following months turned into one of the most extraordinary legal reversals in recent celebrity history, driven by a piece of audio recorded on a front porch in Alabama that nobody on the outside knew existed. Sean Corey Carter came into the world on December 4th, 1969, in Brooklyn, New York, the youngest of 4 children, raised in the Marcy projects in Bedford-Stuyvesant, a public housing complex of 27 6-story buildings and 1,705 apartments. Walking those sidewalks with Oprah Winfrey in 2009, Jay-Z pointed to apartment 5C and told her simply, navigating this place was life or death. He wasn't dramatizing. The crack epidemic had taken hold of American cities in the 1980s, and the Marcy projects were at the center of it. At 9 years old, he watched a murder happen in his neighborhood. 2 years after that, the second blow landed. His father, Adnis Reeves, walked away from the family. Jay-Z was 11. His mother, Gloria, was left raising 4 kids alone, sometimes working 2 jobs to keep them fed. What that felt like, Jay-Z would put into words years later for Oprah. When you're growing up, your dad is your superhero. Once you've let yourself fall that in love with someone, once you put him on such a high pedestal and he lets you down, you never want to experience that pain again. The anger that followed didn't lead him to therapy. It led him to the streets. His older brother Eric had become addicted to crack, and Sean Carter, the youngest, the one his mother said gave her no pain at birth, decided to sell the same drug that was eating his brother alive, because at least that way he could help support the family. He sold crack for approximately 14 years.
Jay-Z, how do you sell drugs with a good heart?
Sometimes you're placed in situations of hopelessness. You're placed in situations where you have all the way out, but what people would say wrong. if you're doing it with good intentions.
Reflecting on it in 2010, he told Fresh Air, "At 14, 15 years old, you're thinking about sneakers or relief from all of the pain you're feeling. You're thinking about buying food for the house, paying the extra light bill. At that young age, you're not thinking about the destruction you're causing your own community." And yet in 6th grade, he had tested at a 12th grade reading level. The intelligence had always been there. Music gave it somewhere to go.
The pain you caused to the people you sold drugs to. Have you ever had conversations with people like that you caused pain to as a young man and talked about it?
No, I haven't. No.
What would you say to them? Or is that impossible to do at this point?
Nothing's impossible. I guess that conversation would definitely take ownership for my part, because knowing what I know now, you can't sacrifice others for your life. There's a karmic debt that has to be paid. Had I had the level of consciousness then that I have now, things would have turned out differently. And just knowing that, I definitely want everyone to know that.
In 1989, Sean connected with an older rapper named Jazzo, who became a mentor. Together, they recorded a song called The Originators and earned a spot on Yo MTV Raps. That appearance was when Sean Carter became Jay-Z, a name that honored Jazzo, echoed his childhood nickname Jazzy, and pointed back to the J and Z subway lines running past his front door. Every major label still refused to sign him, so in 1994, along with Damon, Dame Dash, and Kareem Biggs Burke, he created Rockefeller Records, a name invented by a rapper named Tone Hooker, a double entendre for Rockefeller and rocking a fella, meaning dominating an opponent. They started by pressing and burning CDs and selling them out of car trunks on street corners. Reasonable Doubt came in 1996. It reached only number 23 on the Billboard 200. By rap standards at the time, that was a modest landing, but insiders heard something different. The density of the lyrics, the DJ Premier production, the Notorious B.I.G. feature, the clarity of the storytelling. Critics called it a classic almost immediately. In 2025, nearly 3 decades later, Reasonable Doubt was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. What followed was relentless. Volume 2, Hard Knock Life in 1998 went to number 1 on the Billboard 200 and won his first Grammy, sampling the chorus from the Broadway musical Annie, reaching millions of people who had never listened to a rap album in their lives.
Jay-Z, he made Reasonable Doubt, which is, one of the greatest rap albums ever. Biggie died. He went and ran to the Biggie formula. So he figured, I'll get all them great records that they was about to give Big. But that wasn't his energy. He made that album, he didn't f with none of us. It was a Bad Boy Hitman album.
The blueprint dropped on September 11th, 2001, the morning the Twin Towers fell. Schools and businesses shut down. The album still moved units, and the Library of Congress later added it to the National Recording Registry as culturally and historically significant. The Black Album, in 2003, was announced as his retirement at age 34. That same year, he reconciled with his father. Gloria Carter arranged the meeting. Jay-Z was reluctant. His father was broken, deep in liver failure. Jay-Z got him an apartment and had started buying furniture when Adnis Reeves died. They had a few months together. Jay-Z has said it changed him in ways he hadn't expected.
My pops died, I didn't cry. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it starts. Pop died, didn't cry, didn't know him that well. You know what I'm saying? But it just came from me being real about those feelings. Like when I went to the church and I seen him, like my first thought was it was a smirk. Like I was smiling a little bit like, yo, this guy looks so much like me. Like we look, just alike. And, just the fact that I got a chance to talk to him and I got a chance to re-meet him, you know what I'm saying? I got a chance to tell him, how I was affected by him leaving and things like that, then, that I was cool with it. And that's what that verse is about. And I'm like, yo, it wasn't your fault. Like all the things that I've been blaming him for through my career and through the albums, as I grew, I realized it wasn't all your fault. You was in the same game I fought.
Retirement didn't last. He came back in 2006, and by then he had already served as president and CEO of Def Jam Recordings, the role through which he helped launch Kanye West, Rihanna, and Neo. Rockaware, the clothing line he co-founded, sold to Iconix Brand Group in March 2007 for $204 million. The 4040 Club sports bar followed, then Rock Nation in 2008. Tidal acquired for $56 million in March 2015. Marcy Venture Partners, a venture capital firm, in 2018. The Sean Carter Foundation for Disadvantaged Youth, co-founded with his mother. By June 2019, he had become the first hip-hop billionaire. By 2025, his net worth sat at $2.6 billion, the richest musician alive. And Beyoncé. They began collaborating musically in 2002. They kept the relationship so private that even after they married on April 4th, 2008, in a ceremony in Tribeca, their relationship wasn't confirmed publicly until later that month. And Beyoncé didn't display her $5 million Lorraine Schwartz wedding ring until a September 2008 concert. 3 children, Blue Ivy Carter, born January 7th, 2012, and twins Rumi and Sir Carter. Forbes named them Hollywood's highest paid couple in 2009. In 2017, Jay-Z admitted to infidelity on his album 444, a partial response to Beyoncé's Lemonade. The marriage survived. By 2023, Billboard and Vibe named him the greatest rapper of all time. 25 Grammys, 14 #1 albums, 140 million albums sold. The first rapper in the Songwriters Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
It is my honor to welcome to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Jay-Z.
I feel so honored to be celebrated in such a way. Thank you, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's incredible honor. You know, growing up, we didn't think we could be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That just showed me the power of hip hop, the power of these heroes who let me know that these things are possible. And we're gonna enjoy tonight. I appreciate this honor. Sorry for this long ass speech, but I had to get it off. We did it, Brooklyn!
And then came the letter from Houston. By the fall of 2024, the Diddy scandal had become one of the most consequential stories in the history of the music industry. Federal prosecutors arrested Sean Combs in September 2024 on charges of racketeering conspiracy, trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He pleaded not guilty.
That a federal judge is now refusing to grant Sean Diddy Combs bail. Instead, he's going straight to jail tonight after Diddy pleaded not guilty to charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. Want to show you some of these brand new court sketches coming into us, like literally in the last 90 seconds. This is Combs in court after prosecutors arrested him at a hotel in Manhattan.
His criminal trial was scheduled to begin May 5th, 2025. Civil lawsuits filed on behalf of alleged victims were multiplying faster than anyone could track. Tony Busby was at the center of that civil litigation. The Houston-based trial lawyer had filed suits on behalf of more than 120 individuals claiming harm at the hands of Combs.
Sean Diddy Combs facing another long list of sexual misconduct allegations. He's in jail awaiting trial on charges of trafficking women for sex parties and has pleaded not guilty. Houston attorney Tony Busby says he represents 120 people who say Combs abused them as well. He spoke out Tuesday on the disturbing claims.
Our youngest victim at the time of the occurrence was 9 years old. We have an individual who was 14 years old. We have one who was 15. 25 of the 120 individuals who are plaintiffs in these cases were minors at the time of the acts complained of.
Combs' lawyer says he denies any claim he sexually abused anyone, including minors.
On October 20th, 2024, he filed one of those suits on behalf of an anonymous woman identified only as Jane Doe. Her claim, on the night of September 7th, 2000, after the MTV Video Music Awards in New York, she was brought to one of Combs' after parties while she was 13 years old. She had arrived without a ticket, connected with Combs' limo driver, and received an invitation because, as her lawsuit put it, She fit what Diddy was looking for. That original October complaint named Combs, but also referenced two unnamed accomplices, Celebrity A, male, and Celebrity B, female. Nobody knew who they were. Then, in November 2024, before Jay-Z's name appeared anywhere in public, Busby sent two private demand letters to Jay-Z's attorneys. The letters accused the rapper of raping two minors decades ago and gave him a stark choice: attend a confidential mediation session where something of substance would be given to the survivors, or be publicly named in the lawsuit.
You withdrew a lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z, which alleged the rape of a 13-year-old girl. Jay-Z came out fighting. He filed a lawsuit against you personally. He said that you and the Jane Doe, the accuser, were soullessly motivated by greed in abject disregard of the truth and the most fundamental precepts of human decency. The filing claimed the woman voluntarily admitted to Jay-Z's representative that he did not assault her, and that you, Tony Busby, had pushed her to go forward with a false narrative of the assault by Mr. Carter, Jay-Z, in order to leverage a maximum payday. What is your response to all this?
You said a great mouthful. That's almost every line you stated is false.
Jay-Z declined, and his response when the situation became public knowledge was furious. My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir, it had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny. Before Busby could name him, Jay-Z struck first. On November 18, 2024, his legal team filed a preemptive lawsuit against Busby in Los Angeles County Superior Court, with Jay-Z still listed only as a John Doe, a celebrity and public figure living in Los Angeles. The complaint alleged extortion and intentional infliction of emotional distress. In his sworn statement, Jay-Z put it plainly: "I felt that Mr. Busby was placing a gun to my head, that I either bow to his demands or endure personal and financial ruin." Busby posted to Instagram that a powerful John Doe had sued him in what he called a last-ditch attempt to stop me from revealing names in public lawsuits. 3 weeks later, December 8, 2024, the amended complaint refiled by Busby named Jay-Z directly as Celebrity A. The timing of that filing was something Jay-Z would address in sworn court documents. The following day, December 9th, was the London premiere of Mufasa, The Lion King, the Disney film starring Beyoncé and their daughter Blue Ivy. Jay-Z attended. He later wrote in court filings, "I was harshly criticized for accompanying my daughter to the premiere of her movie. Media outlets reported that Disney was hesitant over my attendance because of the accusations. Mr. Busby purposely filed this lawsuit on the eve of my daughter's premiere to put me in the position of having to choose between supporting my daughter or hiding to avoid the negative press coverage."
United and defiant. Jay-Z, Beyoncé, their daughter Blue Ivy, and Beyoncé's mother Tina Knowles are sending a clear message that they're standing by the music mogul in the wake of shocking rape allegations leveled against him and P. Diddy.
The allegations in the amended complaint were severe. Jane Doe claimed Jay-Z and Combs had taken turns assaulting her while other people were present and did nothing. Alex Spiro, Jay-Z's attorney, who also represents Elon Musk and New York City Mayor Eric Adams, stated flatly that Jay-Z had never met Jane Doe. On December 20th, Jay-Z's team added defamation to his existing extortion lawsuit against Busby. One of those defamation counts was based on Busby having liked a social media post on X that speculated about Jay-Z's involvement in the scandal. The legal machinery was fully engaged now. Within weeks of the lawsuit becoming public, Jane Doe's account started showing fractures. In a December 2024 NBC News interview, she acknowledged making mistakes about specific details from the night of the alleged assault. She had claimed her father picked her up afterward, but her father said he had no memory of driving to New York, and at the time, he lived 5 hours away from the city. She had also described a conversation at the after-party with musician Benji Madden, talking about his tattoos. Madden's representatives confirmed he had not attended the VMAs that night. He was touring in the Midwest, and photographs from the evening placed Jay-Z and Combs at separate after-parties entirely.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo. It's the Last Supper.
In a statement to NBC News, a representative for the Maddens confirmed that they did not attend the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at that time. At the after party, she says she had a drink that made her feel woozy. Then she says Combs and Carter both raped her. She says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up.
We rode home in silence. She didn't ask me what happened.
In an interview with NBC News, her father said he could not verify the claims. "I feel like I would remember that, and I don't," he said. When we asked the woman about the contradictions in a phone interview on Friday, she said she stands by her statements. "I have made some mistakes," she said, in remembering what happened 24 years ago. "Honestly, what is the clearest is what happened to me."
On February 14th, 2025, Jane Doe voluntarily dismissed her lawsuit against Jay-Z with prejudice, meaning it could never be refiled. No public explanation was offered. Jay-Z's statement after the dismissal: "The frivolous, fictitious, and appalling allegations have been dismissed. The trauma my wife, my children, loved ones, and I have endured can never be dismissed." But the legal fight was nowhere near over. 4 days before the dismissal, on February 10th, Jay-Z filed a sworn opposition in the Los Angeles case, laying out the financial damage, claiming that Roc Nation had lost approximately $20 million per year in contracts since the accusations became public. He described death threats. He quoted messages sent to him and Beyonce: "I can't wait until you join Combs in prison, then later in hell." Others called him a Satanist, a trafficker, a terrorist, a monster. Some threatened to kill or execute him and his wife. He described how Blue Ivy's friends had seen the press coverage. No number on a balance sheet, he implied, could measure that. 1 week after the dismissal, 2 private investigators working for his legal team traveled to Alabama. On February 21st, 2025, investigator Charlotte Henderson, who would later file a sworn affidavit about what happened that day, met Jane Doe at her Alabama home. Jane Doe came out onto the front porch. According to Henderson's sworn declaration, the conversation was relaxed. Jane Doe engaged freely, without any apparent sign of pressure. A recorder was running. One of the investigators asked Jane Doe to confirm whether Jay-Z had been involved in any sexual acts at the alleged party. The question was simple. The answer was simple.
But Jay-Z, you're saying he was definitely there? Wow. But he had no part in it, or he was just...
He was there. He was just there, but he didn't have anything to do with any sexual acts towards you. It was strictly, yeah. He was the one that kind of pushed me towards going forward with him. With Jay-Z. Busby did? Yeah.
Do you know why?
No.
A second quote captured by Rolling Stone's independent reporting on the tape. It was more Diddy, but Busby brought Jay-Z into it. ABC News broke the story on March 12th, 2025. Rolling Stone confirmed the recording independently the same day. The audio ran on Good Morning America. Alex Spiro went on national television.
She says, in no uncertain terms, Mr. Carter did not do this. It is effectively a lie. And the only reason Mr. Carter is even involved in this is because she was pushed to involve him, pushed to include him by a lawyer.
Busby responded within hours, calling the recording a pieced-together fabrication and saying his investigators had tormented and harassed and tricked that poor woman. He shared his own counter-recording with ABC, a phone call he had placed directly to Jane Doe after learning about the tape.
They say that they have you on tape denying that Jay-Z assaulted you. Is that true?
No. I don't. I've never said that.
Okay. They also say that you told them, and they have it on tape, that I, Tony Busby, told you to like came up with this plan and told you to say that Jay-Z assaulted you so you would get more money.
No.
2 recordings now existed. Both claimed to capture what was true. They contradicted each other completely.
It's tough to hear a false lie said about you, spread through the internet and affecting your children. It's tough on him, it's tough on anybody. But what he does is he proves himself innocent. Today is hopefully the final chapter in that, and then they're going to move forward. That's what Jay does.
Jane Doe filed a written declaration in the Los Angeles court maintaining her original accusations, stating under oath that Jay-Z had assaulted her. That declaration sat in direct conflict with what was on the investigator's tape. It also complicated what she had told NBC News months earlier. when she acknowledged mistakes in her identification. In a separate sworn statement explaining why she had dropped the New York lawsuit, she wrote that she was frightened by the reaction of Jay-Z and his supporters, that investigators had visited her home and asked her to sign an affidavit calling her claims false, which she refused, and that investigators had also approached her parents on 2 separate occasions. Although I ultimately chose not to pursue them, she wrote, I stand by my claims and believe I had a meritorious claim against Jay-Z. In May 2025, she posted a TikTok lip-syncing a song lyric. You couldn't pay me $1 million to get an apology video out of me. I stand on what I said. Jay-Z's legal team amended their Alabama complaint to include that video. Court filings from Jay-Z's side also flagged Jane Doe's documented mental health history. A doctor had testified in a 2015 family court deposition that she had told him years prior she had a history of auditory hallucinations. Voices that other people don't hear, the doctor testified. In 2023, she had filed a motion in a separate legal matter asking to be transferred to mental health court. On March 3, 2025, Jay-Z filed his second lawsuit in federal court in Alabama against Jane Doe, Busby, and attorney David Fortney. He called the entire scheme an evil conspiracy. The lawsuit claimed Roc Nation had lost a minimum of $20 million in contracts as a direct result of the accusations, with total damages many millions of dollars higher. With lawsuits active in Los Angeles, Alabama, and New York's orbit, the legal battle settled into a grinding series of courtroom hearings. The Los Angeles case, Jay-Z's extortion and defamation claims against Busby, was before Judge Mark Epstein. Busby filed an anti-SLAPP motion, the legal mechanism used to quickly dismiss lawsuits that target protected speech or legal activity. 3 lengthy hearings followed, and the judge's position shifted at every one of them.
Jay-Z sued Texas attorney Tony Busby, accusing him of extortion and defamation. The lawsuit was connected to a now-dismissed case where Jay-Z was falsely accused of assaulting a 13-year-old girl alongside Sean Diddy Combs. Jay-Z claims Tony Busby sent him threatening letters demanding money, then added him to the lawsuit after he refused to pay. A California judge dismissed Jay-Z's case, saying there was no criminal-level extortion taking place, just a civil dispute. Jay-Z's legal team even submitted recorded conversation of his accuser saying that Tony Busby pushed her to name Jay-Z in this lawsuit. But the judge claimed the recording could not be used in court as solid evidence. Jay-Z's lawyer says that this case was lost on a technicality, and you best believe they plan to appeal it. Meanwhile, Tony Busby is merely rocking in the streets of Twitter, calling this a huge win, and even said he may go after attorney's fees. Now, what's most interesting about this latest update in this case is that the judge hinted that he may have made the wrong decision and basically told both parties to stay tuned.
At the first hearing, Epstein signaled he was inclined to dismiss the extortion claim and pare back the defamation claims. Then, toward the end of that first hearing, Jay-Z's attorneys appeared to learn in real time that the Alabama recording existed. Epstein's posture began to shift. At the second hearing, he suggested the tape transcript might be enough to let the extortion claim survive, depending on admissibility. At the third, he seemed ready to allow it forward. Busby was also drawing scrutiny elsewhere. A federal judge in New York had admonished him for failing to disclose he was not admitted to practice law in the Southern District of New York, a serious oversight for an attorney who had filed dozens of federal cases in that court. The ruling came on July 1st, 2025, all 65 pages of it. Judge Epstein dismissed Jay-Z's entire Los Angeles lawsuit against Busby. On the extortion claim, his reasoning was precise. The demand letters did not qualify as extortion because threatening to file a civil lawsuit unless you receive a settlement payment is, legally, standard pre-litigation practice, not a crime. Selling silence for money in the civil context is not extortion, Epstein wrote. It is a settlement with a non-disclosure element. On defamation, Jay-Z hadn't met the actual malice standard. He hadn't demonstrated that Busby knowingly lied. And the one piece of evidence that might have established that, The Alabama tape, in which Jane Doe apparently told investigators that Busby had pushed her to name Jay-Z, was ruled inadmissible.
Tony Busby is alleging that Jay-Z attempted to silence him and his client. Tony is representing an anonymous client who is going by Jane Doe. She alleges that Jay-Z and Diddy assaulted her at a VMAs after party in the year 2000 when she was just 13 years old. Jay-Z has already denied these claims, but in a new Twitter post, Tony Busby says that Jay-Z tried to silence his client. You can pause to read the entire statement. Busby says that Mr. Carter, aka Jay-Z, previously denied being the one who sued him and his firm, and that he filed his frivolous case under a pseudonym. Busby says his firm sent Jay-Z's lawyer a demand letter on behalf of an alleged victim, and that victim never demanded a penny from him. Busby also shared this Instagram post in which he claims that there has been a coordinated and aggressive effort that has included harassing his kids, contacting his clients and former clients to encourage them to sue him, and contacting his former colleagues or employees asking if he has, quote, abused them. Busby further alleges that there have been mysterious people following him and his family, but that he won't be bullied or intimidated. He says, people will see through this effort to discredit me and my clients, and the truth will be revealed. I also won't allow anyone to scare my clients into silence.
What made that ruling striking was what the judge wrote about the tape itself. He acknowledged that if it had been admissible, there would be some evidence not only that Carter had nothing to do with any sexual assault on Doe, but that Busby knew it. That, he wrote, coupled with the statement by Busby that he had investigated the claims, would be enough to support an inference of actual malice. The judge came close to saying the tape would have changed the outcome, then ruled it out of bounds anyway. He called the decision painfully obvious that the court was struggling. He wrote that the court was not wholly satisfied that this is the outcome that best serves the legislative and constitutional doctrines. He ended the 65-page ruling with 2 words: stay tuned. Jay-Z immediately appealed. The Alabama malicious prosecution case against Jane Doe, Busby, and Fortney remained active as of December 2025.
Now Jay-Z turned around and is suing Busby and this Jane Doe in Alabama where she lives, claiming that she admitted to making the whole story up and she told Busby it was bogus before he moved forward with the claims. But she said that's not the case, and Tony Busby says that Jay-Z's allegations are bogus.
Busby's own litigation, accusing Roc Nation of bribing former clients to sue him for malpractice, was also moving forward. The fight across multiple courts and multiple states had not ended. Here is what remains when you clear the noise away. A man who grew up in apartment 5C of the Marcy projects, who watched a murder at 9 years old, whose father left when he was 11, who sold crack cocaine to survive and tested at a 12th grade level in 6th grade, who burned CDs from a car trunk because no label would sign him, who turned that car trunk into a $2.6 billion fortune and 25 Grammy Awards and a place in 2 separate halls of fame. That man spent the last months of 2024 and much of 2025 fighting for his name in courtrooms across the country. A recording made on a front porch in Alabama seemed to capture the accuser saying the accusations weren't true. A judge ruled the tape inadmissible. The accuser maintained in sworn statements that she stood by her claims. Her attorney called the tape a fabrication. A TikTok video appeared. Motions were filed. Appeals are pending. Cases continue. When Jay-Z learned that Busby's demand letter was coming, before any of this went public, he said he had 2 choices: pay or fight. He chose to fight. He wrote in court documents that the cost of that fight to his finances, his reputation, his family, and his children had been immense. He quoted death threats sent to him and his wife. He described explaining the press coverage to Blue Ivy's friends. And through all of it, his position never changed. He said he had never met Jane Doe, never been where the lawsuit said he was, and never done what the lawsuit said he did. Whether the courts ultimately agree, whether the appeal succeeds, whether the Alabama case lands differently, is still being decided. What isn't in dispute is that a 55-year-old man who built one of the most extraordinary careers in the history of American music had his reputation put on the line in December 2024, and as of the close of 2025, was still fighting to restore it in courtrooms, on appeal, and in a legal war with no clear end in sight. The judge said it himself: stay tuned.